Alrighty, folks, we're now 5-0 in our last 5 NBA tier package picks on my premium site. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my NBA free pick video here today for Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Hopefully you're single so you can save money on dinner and flowers. My name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. And if you want to see which one of these free picks on this video that I actually like the best, you may want to think about signing up for my NBA tier package pick. It's on my premium site, and you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on the free video and what I do on my premium site. Well, what I do here on the free video is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my premium site is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I actually like the best. Once again, folks, I'm 5-0 my last 5 NBA tier package picks on my premium site. The link is in the description section below. With that, folks, we got to dive right into some free content because we have a massive slate of games. Took me forever to produce this video this morning because we just have so many games, so many different angles, injuries. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. We're going to start off with the Hawks at the Hornets, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Atlanta's minus 6.5, totals 238 and a hook. Now, Atlanta's done a nice job covering the point spread over the past couple of weeks. They're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8, and they have little problems getting to the basket. Atlanta's currently a top 3 point-producing team in the entire NBA. And, of course, a lot of that is thanks to Trae Young, who scores a team-high 27 points a game. Trae's also second in the league right now in assists. Meanwhile, DeJounte Murray, he averages over 21.5 points a game himself. He's second on the roster in scoring. And they're facing a Charlotte squad who's one of the worst defensive teams in the entire Eastern Conference. The Hornets are allowing their opponents to make nearly 51% of their field goals against them. They're also second to last in defensive three-point percentage as well. Now, injury-wise, Ball and Williams are still out for Charlotte. Cody Martin's questionable. Meanwhile, for Atlanta on the other side, Matthews, Capella, Okongwu, Griffin, and Goye are out for them. Now, total-wise, the Hawks saw unders against the likes of Houston, Boston, and Phoenix. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10 gatherings with Charlotte. Now, the Hornets saw unders recently against Indy, Milwaukee, and New York. Give me Atlanta minus 6.5, under 238 a hook. All right, next matchup, Heat, Sixers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Philadelphia's minus 4, totals 223. And even though the Sixers are favored by a couple of buckets, they've certainly struggled over the past couple of weeks. Philadelphia's 3-6 straight up in their last 9. They failed to cover in all of those contests except for 3. And healthy or not, the Sixers have certainly had problems scoring against Miami in recent gatherings. The Heat held Philly to just 100 point. Man, struggling with this sentence. Philly didn't score a whole lot in their recent gatherings against Miami. And what I'm trying to say is Philadelphia was held to just 101 points a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Miami. Good job, Brock. Way to spit that one out. Now, no real shock here. Miami covered in 70% of those head-to-head gatherings I just attempted to mention. And as far as this season's concerned, well, Miami went 6-1 against the spread in their last 7, and they've been incredibly tough to score against when they travel. Miami allows fewer points a game on the road than any other roster except for one. When it comes to the injury list, Butler, Rozier, Richardson, and Smith are still out for the Heat. Batum, Harris, Covington, Melton, and Embiid still inactive for Philly. Now, total-wise, 5 out of the Sixers' last 9 got over the line. Meanwhile, Miami saw overs recently against the likes of Orlando, New York, and Boston. back on the 25th. Give me the Heat +4 over 223. Next contest, Knicks, Magic, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Orlando's -3.5, totals 212. Now, Orlando covered the point spread in 7 out of their last 9, and they've played some really good basketball at the Kia Center. These guys are 17-8 in their own arena, and they covered the point spread in 68% of those home games. And a big contributor to that is their defensive effort. They're leading the NBA right now in defensive boards per game at home. Paolo Banchero leads the roster in rebounds per contest. Batazzi's the club leader in blocks. And they're facing a struggling Knicks club who lost 4 out of their last 5. And they failed to cover in every one of those contests. And one of the Knicks' biggest problems this season is simply getting to the basket offensively. New York's currently in the bottom 10 in field goals made per game. Now, injury-wise, Hartenstein and DiVincenzo are questionable for the Knicks. Randall, Anunoby, and Robinson are still out. When it comes to the total, the Knicks went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Unders against the likes of the Rockets, Pacers, and Lakers. And out of their last 10 meetings with the Magic, the under cashed in 80% of those games. Now, Orlando on the other side, they held the Knicks to just 106 points a game in those head-to-head meetings I just mentioned. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Give me the Magic -3.5, under 212. Next contest, Celtics hosting the Nets. That'll be a 7:30 Eastern start time. Boston's -13, totals 228. And even though the Celtics are known for their offensive prowess, well, it's been their defensive play that's really kept them in games as well. Boston currently has the lowest defensive field goal percentage in the entire Eastern Conference. When it comes to second half defense, well, these guys have been tough to score against. They're actually in the top 5 in the entire league in second half points allowed. Jaylen Brown leads the roster in steals per contest. Derek White has the second most blocks. And one more thing to add here, the Celtics have been nearly impossible to beat at the Garden. These guys are 25-3 in front of their own crowd. And they're facing a Brooklyn squad who certainly has problems getting on the scoreboard. These guys are in the bottom 5 in shooting from the field. And out of 23 contests away from the Barclays Center, the Nets got the W only 8 times. Now, injury-wise, Simmons is out. Johnson's questionable. Meanwhile, for the Celtics on the other side, Porzingis and Springer are day-to-day. Tillman's still inactive with a knee. Now, 4 out of the Celtics' last 7 did get over the total. Meanwhile, Brooklyn saw overs against the likes of Philadelphia, Phoenix, and this very Boston team. Give me the Celtics -13, over 228. Next game, Bulls, Cavaliers, 7:30 Eastern start time. Cleveland's -9.5, totals 224. Now, Cleveland got the W in 9 out of their last 10 ball games, and they've been tough to beat at home. They're 18-9 at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and they're incredibly tough to shoot against. Matter of fact, the Cavs allow fewer points a game than any other roster in the East. Donovan Mitchell leads the lineup in steals per contest. Evan Mobley averages the most blocks. And they're facing a Chicago club who has all kinds of problems on offense themselves. These guys are in the bottom 3 in the league in first half scoring. When it comes to shooting from long range, they're also in the bottom 5 in the East in made three-pointers per contest. Nikola Vucevic makes just 27% of his 3 balls. Javon Carter shoots just 37% from the field. Now, injury-wise, Caruso, Craig, and Terry are all listed as questionable. Patrick Williams is still out with a foot. Meanwhile, for the Cavs, Ty Jerome's still inactive for them. Dean Wade's day-to-day. Now, total-wise, 7 out of Cleveland's last 10 ball games did fall under the total. And out of their last 10 ball games against the Bulls, the under cashed in 70% of those gatherings. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. As a matter of fact, Chicago was held to just 101 points per contest during that span of games I just mentioned. Now, of course, more recently, the Bulls saw unders against the likes of the Raptors, Blazers, and Suns. Give me Cleveland -9.5, under 224. Next ball game, Pacers, Raptors, 7:30 Eastern start time. Indiana's -4, totals 245. And for a team laying a couple of buckets on the road here, the Pacers have had a rough go of things here lately. They took the loss in 5 out of their last 8. And they're arguably the worst defensive team in the game. Indy's dead last in guarding the field goal. They're also allowing more points in the first half than any other roster in the association. And they're taking on a Toronto club who does a nice job of grabbing offensive rebounds at home. These guys are in the top 10 in home offensive boards per game. Jacob Poeltl grabs the most rebounds per contest on average, 68% shooting from the field. And Scotty Barnes, he averages 20 points a game himself, and he's grabbing over 8 rebounds a night as well. Now, injury-wise, the Raptors are mostly healthy at the moment, although it does look like R.J. Barrett could potentially take a night off for personal matters. Meanwhile, for Indy on the other side, Turner, Halliburton, and Mathurin are day-to-day for them. Smith and Johnson are out. And it's because of those injuries that I think this one does stay under the total here this evening. The Pacers already saw their last 3 straight stay under the line, 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Meanwhile, Toronto on the other side, they saw unders recently against the likes of San Antonio, Cleveland, and Houston. Give me Toronto +4, under 245. Next ball game, Rockets, Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Houston's -2, totals 218.5. And as bad as the Rockets have been on the road this year, I've got to imagine they can take care of business against Memphis, because I'll tell you what, the Grizzlies have been equally as pathetic on their own court. Memphis is currently just 5-20 in the FedEx Forum, and they average a league-low 104 points a game in front of their own fans. And it should come as no surprise, Memphis is currently the worst field goal shooting team at home in the game. And they're facing a Houston squad whose strength is their defensive performance. As a matter of fact, they're allowing fewer field goals a game on D than any other roster besides 2. When it comes to first half defense, well, they're in the top 5 in the entire league in second quarter points allowed. Alpi Sengun leads the active roster in steals, 6.5 defensive rebounds a game as well. Meanwhile, Jabari Smith Jr. grabs nearly 9 rebounds a night himself, 13 points a game on offense. Now, injury-wise, Reggie Bullock's questionable for Houston. Van Fleet, Eason, and Whitmore are inactive. Meanwhile, for Memphis on the other side, Derrick Rose and Zaire Williams, they are day-to-day for them. Smart, Clark, LaRavia, and Pippen, they're inactive. 5 out of Memphis' last 9 fell under the line. They're also 18-7 to the under in their own building. Meanwhile, Houston saw 6 out of their last 9 stay under the total themselves. Give me the Rockets -2, under 218.5. Next matchup, Wizards, Pelicans, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. New Orleans is -12.5, totals 235. Now, the Pels have been playing some pretty good basketball here lately. They got the W in 6 out of their last 7. They're playing some tough defense at home. They're actually in the top 5 in defensive field goal percentage in their own building. When it comes to guarding the 3 ball, nobody does it better than New Orleans. These guys currently lead the NBA in defensive 3-point percentage. Herbert Jones leads the active roster in steals per game. Jonas Valanciunas has the most blocks and rebounds. And they're facing a pitiful Washington club who lost their last 7 straight. And when the Wizards play on the road, well, they just don't win a whole lot. Washington's 6-21 straight up in their travels. And the Wizards' biggest problem this season has been rebounds. They're currently dead last in the league in defensive boards per game, second to last in offensive rebounds as well. Now, injury-wise, Isaiah Livers is still out for Washington. Zeller and Zion questionable for the Pels. 7 out of New Orleans' last 10 ball games did fall under the total. Unders against the likes of Memphis, Portland, and the Clippers. Meanwhile, the Wizards on the other side, they saw 5 out of their last 6 out-of-conference road games stay under the total. Give me the Pelicans -12.5, under 236. Next contest, Spurs, Mavericks, 8:30 Eastern tip-off. Dallas is minus 11.5, totals 242. And even though this is a big number, the Mavs are certainly tough to fade in this spot here. They're a top 10 point producing team in the league. And when they shoot from long range, no one does it better in the West than Dallas. The Mavs currently lead the Western Conference in three-pointers made per game. Luka Doncic scores a league-high 34 points per contest, third in the NBA in assists per game. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving drills 41% of his three balls, and he averages 25 points a night. And out of San Antonio's last 8 ball games, they took the loss in all of those except for one. And out of 28 contests away from San Antonio, the Spurs got the W only 6 times. They're currently dead last in the Western Conference in defensive boards per game. When it comes to second quarter defense, they're allowing more second quarter points than any other roster except for one. Now, injury-wise, Marcus Morris is out for the Spurs. Kleba and Lively questionable for the Mavs. Also, Dante Exum, he's been scratched for Dallas as well. Now, total-wise, the Mavs saw overs recently against the likes of OKC, New York, and Orlando. And in their last 10 gatherings with San Antonio, the Mavs have averaged a staggering 126 points a game. Now, no real shock here. The over cashed in 90% of those head-to-head meetings I just mentioned. Give me Dallas minus 11.5 over 242. Next contest, Pistons, Suns, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Phoenix is minus 13, totals 234.5. Now, the Suns got the W in 6 out of their last 8. And they covered the point spread in all of those contests except for 2. When it comes to shooting the basketball, there's not many teams better than these guys. Phoenix is currently in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage, top 5 in shooting the deep ball. When it comes to third quarter scoring, the Suns are averaging more third quarter points than any other roster except for one. Kevin Durant makes 44% of his 3 balls, club leader in scoring. Meanwhile, Grayson Allen knocks down nearly 50% of his attempts from beyond the arc. And they're taking on a Pistons team who's won just 4 out of 26 contests away from home this year. When it comes to defensive play, the Pistons are allowing more points a game on the road than any other team in the NBA. Quentin Grimes, he's questionable for the Pistons. Isaiah Stewart's still out. Meanwhile, for the Suns, Beal and Lee are still inactive for them. Phoenix saw overs recently against the likes of Sacramento, Utah, and Washington. Meanwhile, Detroit's gone 18-8 to the over as the road team. Give me the Suns minus 13, over 234.5. Next game, Kings, Nuggets, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Denver's minus 5, totals 230. And this does feel like a short number for a Nuggets team who dominates on their own floor. Denver's 21-4 in the ball arena. And they've got little problems getting to the basket there. As a matter of fact, the Nuggets are shooting nearly 52% from the field at home. And of course, they're led by the Joker, Nikola Jokic, who's averaging 26 points a game along with a dozen rebounds. Now, Michael Porter Jr. knocks down just about 40% of his attempts from downtown. And they're taking on a Sacramento team who lost 4 out of their last 5. And they failed to cover in all of those contests except for one. When it comes to defensive play, the Kings just aren't defending the long ball very well. They're letting their competition make 40% of their three-pointers against them. They're dead last in the league in that particular category. Now, injury-wise, Trey Lyles is questionable for Sacramento. Murray and KCP are day-to-day. The Nuggets saw unders in 8 out of their last 10. They're also 60% to the under inside the ball arena. Now, Sacramento's 13-7 to the under against Western Conference opponents on the road. Give me the Nuggets minus 5, under 230. With that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be in that Clippers-Warriors game, 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Golden State's minus 3, totals 234. And even though the Warriors have played some really good basketball recently, you still got to consider the fact that they've struggled in conference home games. They've gotten the W in just 7 out of 17 home games against Western Conference opponents. And equally as bad, the Warriors covered in just 35% of those games I just mentioned. And much to many surprise, the Warriors do not shoot the basketball well on their own hardwood. They're in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage in front of their own crowd. And I'll tell you, they're facing a Clipper team who defends the field goal quite well themselves. They're in the top 5 in the West in defensive field goal percentage. And when it comes to grabbing boards, not many clubs do it better than these guys. The Clips are in the top 5 in the league in defensive rebounds per contest. Paul George leads the active roster here today in steals per game. Ivica Zubac is the club leader in blocks. When it comes to the injury list, Tucker, Highland, and Kawhi are all sitting this one out here today for the Clips. Now, the overcashed in 6 out of these teams' last 10 head-to-head gatherings. The Warriors are also 11-6 the over in the Chase Center. Give me the Clippers +3 over 234. And with that, folks, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Give me the Hawks -6.5, under 238 and a hook. Miami +4, over 223. Orlando -3.5, under 212. I'm 5-0. My last 5 NBA tier package picks on my premium site. The link is in my bio. Boston -13, over 228. Cleveland -9.5, under 224. Raptors +4, under 245. Rockets -2, under 218.5. Pelicans -12.5, under 236. Mavericks -11.5, over 242. Phoenix Suns -13, over 234.5. I have no free pick available for you in the Lakers-Jazz game. Denver Nuggets -5, under 230. With my next and final free pick, give me the Clippers +3, over 234. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium site. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman membership, it's a full access, all-inclusive package. It gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast that nobody watches, absolutely free. It'll be included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Wednesday to you. Happy V-Day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium site at patreon.com/BrockPage.